What's up, men? Welcome to the Male Cartel podcast. Let's get started.
Do you think men are important? Like for what?
Men are not meant to be dominant. Men are meant to be submissive.
Life's too short to exercise. I'm just gonna be honest.
It's okay to be fat.
Dispelling toxic masculinity and really redefining what it means to be a man. Men can cry. So it's okay to be weak. It's okay to be weak.
I'm telling you right now, not everybody wants to see you win.
You seem to be more woman than you are man. You don't have any manly qualities.
You give them this message that it's okay to be a man.
It's not okay, it's necessary. How are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up, these men, they're doing impossible things.
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Be a dangerous man. Being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things. You can't be a good man if you're not a dangerous man. You say one disrespectful thing to my wife, I am not only willing, but I'm able to inflict great bodily damage.
I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim. I can't explain it, but you better feel me. Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know how it happens, but winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, if you keep letting losing happen to you, if you keep letting people do you and treat you any kind of way, it's going to become a culture. What's the matter with you? There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Here's your host, Nick and Shane.
What is up? We're back. Welcome to the Male Cartel. I'm Shane Padgett, and next to me is my boy
Nick Carnes.
That's who. And right now, Nick, you can't see him. Maybe you can see him, but if you can't see him, you're gonna listen to him. And as you listen to him, you may hear something different in his voice. Is that he has a thicker beard?
Thicker beard. You know, it's funny because I have a beard.
You have a beard, but that thing is thick, bro.
It is thick.
It's like a milkshake.
Yeah,
one of those thick milkshakes.
Where's your beard?
I actually trimmed my face because last night my wife said that my beard really looked like I had a giant beard on the football field last night.
Really?
Yes, because I hadn't shaved in like over a week.
Wow, over a week. This is like 3 days.
I know, right? Yeah, I think producer Carell rubbed off on you for that thickness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I had not trimmed it for a little bit, and I took a photo. I forget when it was, and I posted it, and somebody commented and said, "Epic beard. You wear it well."
Oh, snap.
And I was like, I had already trimmed it the next morning. He had commented overnight, and I had trimmed it the next morning, and I was like,
no, sir.
I just trimmed my epic beard. And so I grown it back.
So does Nikki like it?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. She hasn't complained.
She was like, "Oh, Nicholas."
So
you Jeremiah Johnson, bro. That's actually an old movie or something, I think. I just know he had like a big Grizzly Adams. Remember that? Remember that character, the movie Grizzly Adams? What's up, man?
You know,
besides
Gladiator, he had a beard. You know, some of the most epic warriors
had a beard.
Had beards.
All right, let's go through the list.
Rocky and Rocky 4 when he was working out in
100% in the snow.
In the snow.
So Rocky 4, Gladiator. Who else? Jesus. Are you kidding me?
But that's the Trump card. Doesn't matter who else beyond Jesus.
That's a Donald Trump card, bro. Done.
Well, Trump doesn't have a beard.
He don't. He look weird with a beard. Let's just be honest. Some people can't pull off a beard.
We should like Photoshop a beard on him, see how it would look.
Now, he would look crazy if he grew a beard and he actually like cut his hair real short on the sides. The beard was like big, thick beard.
Have one of those Pompeo, whatever they do, whatever they call that thing.
Flipperoo.
Yeah, the little flipperoo.
Yeah.
Somebody several years ago when Ted Cruz was running for president, gave him a beard, made him look more manly. Beards just make you look manly.
It makes you feel like a man, because yesterday I felt like a man.
Yeah.
Today I woke up, nope.
Yeah.
Like Samson the day before, the day after. Yeah, I really felt different today. But yesterday I really felt like I could feel it. Everything I did was just thick on my face. So, but my wife, I know that she doesn't like it. So But I trimmed it up last night, and I decided, you know what, I'm just go ahead and just shave it all off. And I did. Yeah.
I hadn't really grown it beyond what it is now, so I'm kind of curious.
It looks good though.
Kind of curious.
The first thing I noticed about you, I was like, man, that thing looks thick. Looks good too.
Yeah.
Epic.
Gavin's is pretty thick.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got good genetics. Mine looks like continents, bro.
Well, he had some patches, and he did something. He looked it up online and used some like natural stuff, and kind of it worked. So
man,
maybe you need to talk to Gavin about how to be more manly in your beard.
That's what I need.
How to have
to
a
do.
more manly beard.
Gavin, if you're listening, holla at your boy. I need to know what the secret sauce is to the beard. So what's new, man? Anything new?
Not much. It's just been busy.
Are you ready for Easter? Easter's next month.
Easter's coming up. Yeah, we're getting there.
It's crazy, right?
It's just
we're mid-March.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
February went by quick, and we're already mid-March. Yeah.
Remember back at the beginning of March, everybody was joking around about how February was like. Was it February or January?
January.
It was January that was long.
Well, that's what they always say. This year felt quick to me.
I thought so too, man. I'd love to know what our listeners think, because I felt just like you. I felt like it was quick. We're in mid-March right now.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know if it's just getting older, being busier. I don't know what it is, but.
It's all the above. I know we're playing flag football again. I'm the assistant coach. We got a squad. My Sawyer's playing. So.
Nice.
So, for whatever reason, we practice like 4 times a week. Like, seriously. There's a scrimmage tonight. There's another scrimmage on Saturday. We had practice the last night.
Wow.
It's like playing high school, bro.
They take it serious.
They take it very serious. So, when I was coaching it, we just kept things simple. We practiced twice a week, and that's it. And my guy is 4 times a week. So
well, now,
double.
Maybe you win that championship, put in the extra work.
I know, man. Extra work. Yeah, I don't love it that much. I don't think my kids love it that much either.
Well, and, they say, there's statistics that say the amount that you spend for travel ball and the percentage of kids that actually make it to college or pro is so minimal.
Yep.
And even if you get a full ride, what you spend over the lifetime, you almost could pay for a smaller college out of pocket.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's just like you have to, if your child's really good, they're gonna make it, even if it's a walk on.
Bro, 1,000%. So as somebody who works with athletes, I'm telling you, if you're a dad and your kid's playing baseball, soccer, football, basketball, whatever it is, just know this. If they're good, they'll get noticed.
Yep.
And it's really easy. You put their highlights on Huddle, goes on to the Twitter, the X. They get found out about. Okay? Now, you may have to do a lot of work to get them. Say if your kid is probably a 6 out of 10 and it's not even classified as a 1-star, right? If you go, Nick, and do your hard work and you're trying really, really hard with your kid, you may get your kid to go to a better school. All right? But you can put a lot of energy, effort, a lot of finances.
Yeah.
But if your kid's naturally good and say he or she's a 6, you can go get a college scholarship if that's what your priority is.
Yeah.
If your kid's a 6, there's no way to make them an 8. You may move them up 1 notch. By the time they're in high school, I don't know, man. Your kid must have like the intangibles like size, speed, ratio. If your kid's an offensive line and say he's 6'2", 280, you got to get him to 300 pounds. He's going to be strong as an ox, and he's probably going to have to get some exposure against good teams, and he's going to be a guard or center.
Yeah,
that's it.
And also if they're good, if they don't get a scholarship, they can try to walk on, try out for a college team, and if they're good, they'll make it. Look at Stetson Bennett.
Right.
He led Bulldogs to 2 national championships as a walk-on.
Right.
So, but they say that from high school to college, it's a huge leap.
Oh, yeah.
You might be the best in your high school.
Oh, yeah.
But then you get to college and you're one among many skilled athletes.
You know what separates in college, though, right? What separates in college is your work ethic.
Yeah.
And then that's going to separate you from everybody. Like, seriously. Because a lot of guys, they've gotten by with being the biggest and strongest in their school.
Right.
And then when you get to the next level, you're going to be outwork everybody. Think about J.J. Watt. He was like a tight end. He got recruited, went to a small school. He was a 2-star tight end. That's it. He was 6'5", 240, slow, like a 4, I think it was a 4.85 40 in high school. I ran a 4.71 in 10th grade. I was much faster than that. I was probably a 4.6 guy, upper 4.6s by the time I was a senior in high school, which would be combine decently. Strength-wise, I was always strong, Shoot, I would beat, I think, almost everybody but one person in the combine this year on the as tight end. And I'm older. So imagine when I was younger, I was a beast when I graduated high school. But he outworked everybody, got in the weight room, proper nutrition, XNO. He walks on at transfers to Wisconsin as defensive end, and the rest is history. 2-star.
Yep.
He just outworked everybody. Yep. Insane. But
well,
that's the biggest I've seen.
Yeah, because you're also going from high school where you probably have parents making you focus on your work and everything you're supposed to do, getting to practice. Now in college, you got that freedom.
Yep.
Going to class, doing your work. That's where a lot of guys fall off because you see a lot of 5-stars who are busts.
100%.
And then same thing to the next level. You've got top draft picks in the NFL and NBA that end up being busts. So,
well, I was going to say the other thing is there's 2 things: work ethic, and then you don't have to, staying healthy, not getting hurt. Because once you get hurt, you're out of the lineup. Somebody else is getting reps, and now it's going to put you down a couple of notches.
Yeah.
And you have to work your tail off.
Well, speaking of that hard work, I mean, what we're talking about today.
Oh yeah,
talking about kind of passive men and men not really putting in the work or being that leader. I know you ran across a clip that really kind of sparked your interest in this topic with Mark Driscoll. So we'll listen to that and then we'll have a discussion from there.
Church boys are smarmy. They're judged like, I've never committed adultery and I've been faithful to my wife and I tithe 10%. Yeah, but if you're a coward, if you're passive, it's not just about what you don't do, it's about what you're not doing that you're supposed to be doing. If your wife is not healthy and you just don't deal with her, you're a failure. One of your kids is off the path and you're not even trying, you're passive. If at work, you know that some really ungodly, maybe unethical, maybe illegal things are happening and you're just like, hey. Passive men are always the problem. Passive men are ungodly men. And a lot of times, guys will come into church. I call them church boys. You could be young or old and be a church boy.
Basically, as you heard from the clip, he's talking about just being passive in general, overlooking like your wife if she's unhealthy or your kids who are all over the place. And you do everything that's like, I guess, okay. Like you're not a terrible person, but you're just passive at your work, at your home, in every area. And he just calls them church boys. He says they're ungodly. And so, I read across that. I liked it. Mark Driscoll. And one of the reasons I like it so much is that I have conversations with people all the time, Nick, where we'll discuss people, and it could be in our church or even our, lack of a better term, network of people. And people who know me well know if I get along with that person or I respect that person. And they'll say, well, I see you get along with them. I mean, but I know you don't respect them. And I had this conversation just the other day with a friend of mine. And I said, I don't respect them. And I said, how'd you know? They said, because their kids are wild. I said, yep, that's exactly right, bro. So that to be the truth, because I've actually seen it with men who don't say anything to their wives or anything. And you're called to lead your wife, to initiate everything, love, respect, uphold them, care for them, all the things. But when I see people be passive, and I feel like we don't really have time for that. And so after listening to that, what is your thoughts?
I got so many thoughts.
I want to hear them, bro. I want to hear them because I can talk all day long, but I would love to know your thoughts. Well, you have the epic beard, so.
Well, I'm mentioned this previously, I think in another episode where you're talking about the wild children, and I spoke about an experience that we had here one time where one of our leaders we were all kind of working and doing some things, and his sons were running crazy and running wild, and several people had called him down because people are trying to work and they're just being wild, and they're old enough to know better. And the grandpa to the boys was there, the dad to their dad, and he had called them down and they weren't listening. And he basically says the dad's name, and he says, you need to, talk to your boys. You need to call them down or whatever. And he basically replied, the dad did, what do you expect me to do?
Yeah, I remember that.
As like, be the dad, lead, not be passive, not sit back and let your kids, get in everybody's way and cause a disruption. And it's a perfect example of what you're talking about when we talk about being passive and not leading your family, not leading your children. Beyond that, I mean, there's several different things. The first and foremost, I would say is if you're passive, you're not going to stand for what you believe in. And another example, with Mark Driscoll, he did a little reel where he was kind of playing off another headline. He's been doing that lately.
Oh, yeah.
And I won't get into the whole thing, but a lot of people might know the show Love is Blind. Basically, it's a show where they have to meet behind walls and then they decide to get married, so on and so forth. And so this guy was left at the altar by a woman, and her reason was a couple of reasons. One, because when she talked to him about a woke issue, the Black Lives Matter issue, that whether or not you support that or not, because I know we've got a diverse audience of listeners, he didn't really have a stance on it, which is fine. I mean, you can be neutral to it. But for her, that was an issue. And then when she tuned into his church to see what his church believed, because his response to her when she asked what his church believed was, I don't really know, or he didn't really have much of an answer. So she tuned in, and there were like a gender issue, and they were more traditional marriage and gender and those type things. And so the point of what he was bringing out was this guy was being passive. One, probably didn't even know what he believed, which is probably symptomatic of a lot of Christians or professing Christians. And so he really doesn't know what he believes, but then he's being passive when it comes to, standing up for what he believes. I mean, if you go to a church that supports traditional marriage, you're being passive and not supporting that belief because you want that woman. You want to be married so badly. Mm-hmm. Maybe you think she's hot, she's beautiful, and so this is your opportunity. So instead of being, engaged and stand up for what you believe in, you take the passive route, hoping that, we can get to the altar, we can say I do, and we can work through those different issues. And so I think that's another example of guys being passive when it comes to their beliefs and their faith, whatever their matters of integrity are. Really, I think you lack integrity in that matter. But I think that's an area where guys are passive because they're trying to have a relationship or whatever.
Yeah, I've known guys who they're older, so they're not like a teenager, so they're like 20s, early 30s, who meets that girl. They've been single for a while. They want to get married. They want the whole traditional. I come home, I have a wife, and I have kids, and all that. And then they get in this relationship, and then there's pressure from the female. And so this may be some of you listeners, I don't know, or a friend of yours, I don't know, because either things in life either happen to us or God puts us, I believe, around people that we can be salt and light, and we can be an encouragement to them. And so it's not just the world that you live in. It's not just for you. It's also for everybody else. And so, but then the individual, the guy, ends up compromising because she can't pay rent or she's struggling financially. So they move in together. He knows it's not right, but he moves in together and starts acting like they're married.
Yeah.
And then he's full court, like, hey, I'm I'm going to press this issue. I want to get married soon. And so they do. But they kind of do things butt backwards. That's where I go, that's probably not going to be a wise decision for you. And I recently talked to a young man about this. And he wouldn't care about me saying it on the air. But I just had just a frank conversation, was like, hey, just so you know, this is going to be a recurring thing probably in your life because you allow this to slip. And then when you're able to look and put your foot down a little bit, or just say, hey, I think this is what we need to do, you're probably not going to have immediate buy-in from her. But because in the beginning, if you did say, hey, I disagree with this, but I love you, I want you to know that. I care for you very deeply.
Yeah.
I think we need to figure out when we can get married and get a plan. And if you love her, you go, hey, I can help you out financially with your rent. But we want, you just lead her in that way. Then she knows that you've been supportive and go like, man, he's pretty firm in his beliefs, man, his convictions. That's going to build up equity for the next thing.
Yeah.
Next time when you look at her and say, hey, I don't think we need to do this, she's going to respect you like the Dickens, you know what I'm saying? But you go along with it, compromise, man, it's going to be completely different. We're going to have to fight for the equity. So just because you're passive, man, it's just passive. And I just wish that we would be more direct. Like if there's something wrong, I had this conversation with my daughter just the other day. Obviously she's a female, but I just said, the difference between guys and girls, guys are more likely to say, hey, listen, what you're saying is really bothering me right now. You probably need to shut up. You know what I mean? And then she was just allowing something to happen with another girl and stuff. And I said, did you tell them to stop? And she goes, well, no, I just didn't want to start any drama right now. Ain't no drama if they're doing something to you that you don't like. Just say stop. You would do that if they were touching you, right? And she goes, oh, yes, sir. I said, but if they're saying something directly to you that you don't like, tell them to be quiet.
Yeah.
Stop. What you think?
Well, and I think that was actually one of the other issues that I think I see with guys who are passive, anyone who's passive, but especially men, is they're not willing to confront the issues.
Oh, yeah.
And so even men, and this is what bothers me a lot about guys, you do have an issue. Instead of saying, hey, this bothered me, or I'm upset about this, they take the passive route thinking that maybe it'll just blow over, trying to keep the peace, but that's really false peace because really you're not at peace. But what they will do is become negative, start complaining, gossiping with other people, whatever. Yeah. But they won't go to the very person that they have an issue with and confront that issue. And so they take the passive route, thinking that you're just going to keep the peace, but really you're not. You're continuing to allow a problem to fester, which is going to cause bigger problems. And so, I think that's a big problem even, and it really shouldn't be with men, because you should be those leaders and you shouldn't be afraid to confront. It's not that we love to confront, we look forward to it, but at the same time, it's like, that's our responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's why I hate sometimes when people ask me to hey, would you be a part of this meeting or whatever that might be? Because I will confront issues. It's not like I like it, but if I'm given a responsibility to speak into something that's truthful, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And you go, here goes again, I got to be the bad guy, but it's something that is necessary in order to have true peace, I think.
Yeah.
And so I think that's good to teach our young people.
Yeah, man. The Bible, Matthew 5, verse 9, blessed are the peacemakers. I actually preached that a couple weeks ago at our church. And I think that's part of leadership, where you have to distinguish, okay, is this their perspective on this? This is their opinion. If there is a conflict, and you go, well, this is not you got to really be proactive in thinking, not passive in thinking, but proactive, going they're just talking off the wall.
Yeah.
And then if it's something as a leader, there's something serious that we need to have a conversation, you need to do that. And I think that we just don't jump to everything so quickly, but I think you have to be active, even in a conversation oh, whoa. What, are they just having a bad day? Okay, all right, well, you're going to show grace.
Yeah.
And go, oh, I see how they're acting. This is not a bad day. This is actually he or she is being ugly. Well, I need to say something.
Yeah. Do you think passivity and laziness kind of
are they married?
Connected?
Oh yeah, I do. The definition of I went on the Googles on the line, and it said passive is accepting or allowing what happens or what others do without active response or resistance. So I would say 100% laziness. There's a lot of guys too who are physically lazy, and I really do believe that actually like bleeds over into like your mental laziness, and then obviously spiritually. Like I've never, I mean, you might, but I've never known of guys who I would consider super like chasing Jesus and being who I would consider like, man, that person's an amazing example. I want to be just like them.
Yeah.
Who were not in shape, extremely obese or something, or without medical reason. And they were just very passive and lazy in the other areas of their life. I never looked at them and go, man, that they're spiritual giants. I've just never have. But I do think laziness plays a part in it. And I really don't know the root cause of all that. What do you think?
Well, I think so. I've seen a lot of men who kind of shirk their responsibilities and let their wife be the main worker. Let their, just kind of let life happen to them. The definition said, let things happen. And I think they just let life happen. And
you think they justify? You think they justify stuff?
Oh yeah,
men who come home and they're just like, well, I ain't got to get on the kids right now because I don't want to disrupt the thing, so they can just like turn it off.
Yeah, or I don't have this opportunity, or I tried to make some sales, or I tried to make some contacts, and it's just not working, and so they give up.
Yeah.
After things are a little bit hard. And so that becomes an excuse to be passive. Or, I know of a situation where there's a guy who has a criminal background. And so feels like, well, I'm always going to be limited in my income. I'm always going to be limited to what I can do. And so therefore, I'm just going to take the easy route. And so instead of like, I'm going to go learn a trade, or I'm going to go start my own business, I'm going to do what I can to get better. And not be held back by my circumstances.
Have you ever had somebody that you were, as you were saying, I was thinking about this, but have you ever had somebody where they have a job, a role, like on your team, like whether it's a volunteer team over all the years you've been in ministry, and then they're supposed to do, their team leads, they have a job to do, find out something. I don't know what it is, but they tell you I've been in touch with them, but they haven't got back with me in the meeting. And you turn around and call the organization, whatever it was, and then you get them like snap your finger.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, that happens to me all the time. They say, oh, yeah, I've tried. I sent them multiple emails. I send an email. It comes right back to me. I'm like, hold up. Or they haven't called me back. I pick the phone up in a meeting and I've called people. I said, well, we'll do it right now. Put it on speakerphone and immediately get them.
Yeah.
And
I've had situations, where somebody will say that. And it's like, well, I talked to them yesterday. They said
100%.
They're waiting to hear from you or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case of someone like even being dishonest. It could be called, didn't answer, oh, good.
100%, dude.
Versus taking the initiative to go, let me call again. Wait a few days and call again. So, yeah, for sure. But I mean, you also will see those who are just passive in their approach, not taking the initiative and just kind of taking what is, well, these are my responsibilities. I did it. And so there's no creativity. There's nothing outside of like that normal routine.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, this is it. And there's no like effort put into improving, growing, changing, transforming, any of that.
Yep.
That's all action words. And it's just kind of like, I'm content.
Oh,
This is what I do every week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen that for sure.
Yeah. I do believe, man, that if men were more active, and the problem, I think, if you're a male and your husband, and if your wife, you haven't led your wife properly, you've been very, very, very passive. The problem can come into play where if you go, okay, so you listen to this podcast and you end up being like a better term, like God just really spoke to your heart and you're like, man, I got to get on the train, bro. Let's go. I got to get. If you jump into the arena now and assume control of everything, you're probably going to set yourself up for a big fight. So you're probably better. What would you say to somebody like in that case, Nick, where like what I just said, if there's a gentleman and say he's like, man, I gotta stop being passive. He wants to jump in and take charge of his marriage, his kids, everything. I mean, he just woke up from his slumber. What would you say to him? Give him some wisdom, like how to navigate it, because if he just jumps straight in and just start assuming control, it's going to throw everybody off. What wisdom would you give him?
Well, I think it starts with a conversation. I think it starts with owning up. I've failed in this area. And then here's the steps that I'm going to be taking. And then I think it's taking small steps, focusing maybe on one area where you've been passive, working there, and then working into other areas. But I think it starts with taking ownership, not just, that's more of a vulnerable position, but not just going, you know what, I'm going to start leading, I'm going to start doing this. And then you go from Mr. Passive not leading to now all of a sudden dictator in the home. The pendulum swings all the way to the other end. Everybody's going to think you're psycho. So I think it's going, hey, I've failed. Maybe even going, what is it that you're needing from me? Because most wives, most women want their husbands to lead. And then going, I'm going to start here. And then start focusing on that. Could be with your wife. I'm going to start taking more initiative with discipline with the children or whatever that might be. So I think that's a good starting place. And then it'll start growing from there. Other areas, I think learning how am I supposed to lead, and then starting to take initiative in those areas as you grow and as you learn. But I think starting with your home and being honest is the starting point.
Dude, 100% agree, bro. My thought was communicate to your bride, accept your junk, how you failed, and then, like you said, baby steps. So, well, this has been a good episode. Hopefully, that's been beneficial for other guys. If you're being passive, I would just say, get in the game, man. Put the gloves on and wake up from your slumber, and we don't have time to waste in 2025. And so,
you're designed to lead. You're designed to take 100%. Initiative. Your family needs it. Society needs it. So, start moving in that direction.
Boom. All right. Well, we're wrapped up.
Absolutely. You guys get 1% better, and we'll see you next episode.
Yep. Thank you for joining the Male Cartel podcast. Be sure to subscribe and share to help other men join the cartel. You can also keep up with us on social media and at malecartel.com.